today we've got an interesting video for you. We're going to basically go through a little bit of equipment today that we missed on the last video that we did. I bought a special soldering iron, and on the equipment setup we failed to ventilate the rubs, and we're going to use a soldering iron. I mean, this is my wife's wood burning iron set, and at the end of the video we'll just show you how to puncture holes in the rubs so that there's aeration, because the thing about the rubs, if you're going to have a lid on it, they are pretty airtight, and therefore the snake will not be happy in an airtight rub. So the key is to puncture it. You'll see on here we've punctured some holes on the adults, and again, you can drill them, but if you drill them they tend to crack, so it's best to actually use a soldering iron, and we'll just show you how that's done at the end of the video. We're also going to talk about using different types of scissors when it comes to egg cutting, and the pros and cons of cutting and pipping, and we can discuss some of those. So some breeders prefer to let them all pip and won't cut, others do a semi-pip on one and then they cut, and others just cut. So there isn't a right and wrong answer to that one, it's down to breeders' preference and their experience really. So we're going to talk about that. The other thing we forgot to mention on the equipment is this importance of having a reliable set of scales, and so we're going to go through and explain why we need a set of scales and how often we should be monitoring the weight of our animals and why we do, and we'll cover that as well. A big shout out to Mark Greengrass at Arboretti, who has a wonderful business making bespoke logos, and this is the first one he's made for us. He's got another one coming on Thursday. This one is being lasered, so we gave him our logo, and as you can see it matches our logo. But we just like, Jared loves woodwork, don't you, Jared? Jared's filming today, so thank you, Jared, for being our cameraman. He's back from his little mini break. Helped me last night on the feeding video, and we're going to hopefully put that out shortly, and hopefully you'll enjoy that one. How to feed ball pythons as well.
How to not get bit.
Yeah, Jared came very close to getting bit, so that's one not to miss. So, but yeah, big shout out for Mark, and if anyone would like a bespoke logo design like this, my friend Mark will be more than happy to help with that. Okay, so before we get going, we need to also make a big thank you to Billy at Mutation Creation, because after I'd finished feeding the animals last night, I went to bed. It was quite late, I must admit, it was about 11 o'clock, and I thought, oh, Billy's put out a video, and I thought, oh, it's one of his shout out videos where he just literally has a whole pack of shirts and stickers and magnets, and I was going to say bras, but they're actually, I think one of them actually sent out a face mask with a logo on it, and he used it as a sleeper mask as well. So I do like the sense of humour that these boys bring to their channel, and I really enjoy the shout out. And so maybe, Jack, we should give Billy a shout out. Should we do that first?
Sure.
Yeah. So let's go and put on the widescreen. Let's see exactly what Billy has to say.
Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go. New Forest Morphs. You see on the back, slacking? Yep, slacking on the back. Hey Billy, love the channel. We've been waiting, we've been watching it. Waiting. Oh boy. We've been waiting it. No, we've been watching it for a few years now and can't get enough. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks for always inspiring us with the great content and beautiful snakes. Hope you like the shirts, stickers, etc. All the best, Jared and Paul, New Forest Morphs. And that's YouTube and Instagram, New Forest Morphs. Awesome. Pretty great. Pretty great. Pretty great. Let's see. New Forest Morphs.
Oh, there we go. So I'm really, really happy with that, Jared. That is such good news, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just love the way Billy gives new breeders a shout out like that, because after he did that, my subscription base increased a little bit. So big thumbs up for Billy. Go watch him at Mutation Creation. And also there's some other beautiful YouTubes out there we're going to give a shout out over the next course of the next few months. But let's get back to what we're doing now, and Jared, come and join us. So I think the best thing now is to, should we cut our eggs?
Sure.
Yeah, we've got two pastel. Yeah, you go grab them, Jared. So we've got two eggs from our yellow belly pastel pied female, and we'll show the parents, Jared, before we get going. So when are they due? They're actually due today, aren't they?
Today, 29th of September.
Let's have a
I
look.
don't know if we've got any pippin yet. We'll have a look.
Let's have a little look. But they're well dimpled, aren't they? Just look at that. I mean, so just talk through, as part of the care side of what we're doing, talk us through about how you know when the eggs are ready to be cut.
So usually the eggs will take about 55 days, sometimes longer, after they've been laid to actually develop into a full snake inside.
Yeah.
What you're looking for here is these dimples. See how dimpled in that egg is? Normally it's a nice full egg, which means it's full of yolk.
Yeah.
But over time the snake absorbs all the yolk and it loses the yolk inside, therefore dimpling the egg. So if you were to feel that now, you'd feel a snake at the bottom, just a small snake in the bottom with no yolk.
So you can feel them. You can actually feel them moving actually in the egg.
Yeah, the movement's minimal, but you can feel that there's a snake in there.
The other thing to check is some of them give you windows, don't they, Jared? And it's worth having a look at the windows. In this case, I think there are a couple of windows in there.
So there's a window at the bottom. See that?
We'll just go in there and have a look. Wow, there's something yellow in there.
I think it's the pied, the white of the pied.
The white of the pied.
I'm guessing that has cinnamon pied in it. That's my guess.
Yeah. Now Austin on Mutation Creation, he likes to do window shopping before he has this race. We're going to have a one egg race here between you and me, Jared. Okay. And I'll let you choose first. But before we do that, I wish I would have videoed you separating those eggs, because they came apart very easily, didn't they?
Yeah. Sorry. At the you can see where they were joint there. There's two little flat parts, and they were joint like that.
Yeah. And how easy was that to open?
Very easy. When they're not ready to go, they're quite hard to pull apart. You'll find it's more tacky.
Yeah.
Whereas now when you pull it apart, it's just dry, and you know they're ready to go. So we'll be cutting those today.
So there we go. So another tester to see whether you're ready to cut the eggs is if they separate very easily. If they're not ready to separate and they're not dimpled, they may need a bit longer. So there's no right and wrong answer to the number of days. You have to look at the state of the eggs, the condition of the eggs, where they're going.
Yeah.
Because obviously everyone's temperatures can vary in here. Now we did have a spike in temperature in the beginning of the development of these eggs. In fact, we had a heat wave in the UK, do you remember, Jared?
Yeah, it got very hot.
And we moved them out from your house into here as
They're
well.
about 98, 99 degrees Fahrenheit.
It went really high. We're just hoping and praying that these little babies are resilient enough to handle that spike.
They look like they've made it. Hopefully there's no kinking, but that's something that can be caused by a spike in temperature. It's kinking.
Yeah.
So we'll find out when we open them up. But
so how can we regulate the temperature of a incubator? So say we're getting summer weather. Let's say you've set it up, and normally you're set at about 89.9, aren't you?
89.9 to 90, yeah.
Yeah. So is there an optimum range for the eggs to hatch?
Usually 89 is about standard. That gives you 55 days.
Okay.
You don't want it to drop too lower than that or too higher, but eggs are pretty resilient.
So what happens if you have a heat wave, and then you notice that the thermometer's reading 93, 94, and you're thinking, I've not changed anything, but why does it go up so high?
It's just because the room temperature changes really. So when the room temperature gets a lot hotter, it sometimes doesn't read that on the thermostat, and the thermostat gets hot as well as the room getting hot. Therefore, the actual incubator gets hotter than it should be.
Okay, so how do you troubleshoot that problem?
So what we did when we weren't in our bespoke facility, it's a lot easier in here because you can control the temperature of the room. There's minimal windows, it's all insulated, so if we need it cooler in here, we open some windows, we allow the air to come through and it cools it down. If we need it hotter, we close the windows, we put on the radiator and it warms it up nicely.
So here's a top tip. So we need a facility the ambient temperature is vital because it affects what's going on inside the rubs and the incubator. So we've got this oil heater that is giving off quite a lot of heat actually, and can we just measure the ambient temperature of our reptile house at the moment? We've opened up the doors and windows, we've done a cleaning session this morning, we've made sure everything is crystal clean. We do that religiously for the welfare of our snakes. So Jared, just check the temperature of the room.
79.6.
79.6. So that's actually good, isn't it? Because okay.
79.6.
Okay, 79.6. There it is. Now, when we did the equipment setting up, we had 72 in here, Jared, before we set up that heater.
Yeah.
So our ambient temperature was actually a lot lower than perhaps ideal.
I'm just going to pop these back while we're talking.
Okay. So having 79 means that if that's on a thermostat, so if you have a thermostat controlled heater, if the weather outside is fluctuating, let's say you get a cold spell,
yeah,
that heater kicks in and maintains 79 degrees in the room.
warms it back up, yeah.
Another beautiful thing about having good ambient temperature, let's say there's a power cut, which we have in the New Forest,
yeah,
a lot, because there's lots of windy trees and oak trees that fall on the overhead power that we have, overhead power in the forest. So we have a lot of power cuts. So in our facility we've got a backup generator, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah, we've got one that we can plug in. It's not completely wired up to the building yet, but it will be soon.
Yeah.
And you just plug it in and go. But for now, it's well insulated, so we close all the windows, close all the doors, keep the heat in, and do our very best to get power to all of the snakes in here.
Yeah. Now the Southern Electricity Board down here is pretty quick at getting us power back, because it's normally no more than 24 hours max.
Yes.
So if you've got good ambient temperature, let's say you've got it in here at 79,
yeah,
and you've got a backup generator. Oh, you're going to show us the Maui. The key, what I'm trying to say, Jared, is I think that when you lose power, if the ambient temperature can be maintained in here, let's say it's 79 to 80,
yeah,
and let's say the heat mats aren't able to be heated, a ball python can survive for 24 hours with 80 degrees.
oh yeah, easily.
So having the ambient temperature is actually security for backup. It means that if you can maintain the temperature of your room, even if your mats go down or thermostat goes,
You give your ball pythons, royals the best chance.
yeah. So
I mean, it happens. There's life situations that aren't always easy to deal with, but
yeah,
they're pretty hardy animals. They survive through quite a lot, especially out in the forest. We have a lot of power cuts, so
yeah.
for us, having a generator is key.
Now look at this beautiful male. This is the daddy of the clutch. We got this from Kyron at Wheelie Balls.
Really good balls.
Really good balls. Lovely guy.
Pop him in for you guys to see him.
Definitely look him up. He's a really nice bloke. Very
Just so you know, these spots, they're not mites. They're just sometimes with cinnamon pies they have speckles, and he's got these speckles, a bit like a banana, but not from the banana gene.
Yeah. He's beautiful, Jared, and his father's quite a few clutches for this year, hasn't he?
He has. We feel like there might be something else in him because all of his babies are looking unbelievable, and they just don't look like what they should be. So,
do you reckon there could be a hidden orange dream in him?
I don't know. I don't know what it could be. I don't think it's Orange Dream because you would have seen that in the pied clutch that we had. But there's something that I think is in there, and we'll have to prove it out. But if not, he's just a very beautiful snake and produces beautiful babies.
He's a stud as well. He eats during the breeding season. He's put on a lot of weight since we've had him. Not too much. We've kept him. That's the other thing about breeding. You don't want to get your males too heavy because they want to be lean and mean, fighting missions. And this guy's pure muscle. I mean, there's hardly any fat on him at all. But he eats. He eats ever so quickly as well.
He's a gorgeous boy.
I think he's been a wonderful investment. I think we paid 350 quid for him as well, which is an absolute
steal.
Yeah, it's a really. I mean, that was just the generosity of Kyron. I mean, I reckon if you wanted to buy that in the open market,
so you get a hatchling for 400, maybe a bit less.
But we've got a breedable male. And that's how. I mean, I bought quite a lot of his collection, so maybe he did an overall deal for us. But to sell that for 350, Kyron, very kind of you because he's already produced wonderful animals for us. So we really appreciate that little bit of extra help in the early stages of our business.
So that's the male.
Yeah.
We can grab the female out.
Yeah, and the female, she laid those eggs 2 months ago, and we should weigh her now. And let's actually demonstrate the importance of using scales now.
Yeah, we'd recommend buying bigger scales because it's quite hard to weigh the adults. Stay in, little man.
Yeah.
Okay,
So she's up here. She's called Buttercup, isn't she?
Yellow belly pie.
Yeah, Buttercup. By the way, his name is Elvis. And here's Buttercup. She's starting to get into condition, isn't she? She's been eating, smashing food. I think after a week of laying the eggs, she's starting to smash food, Jared.
Yeah, she's still a little bit alcove. She's still gaining her weight back.
Yeah.
So if we get this all set up, it's not ideal, this weighing situation that we have, but
Do you reckon a bigger set of scales would be better, Jared?
biggest, like if you go to the post office,
Yeah.
they have a big set of scales that you can put, or like a pets. You put the a vet, you put the snake or the animal on there, and it does it perfectly.
Yeah.
But we make do with what we have at the moment, and we'll invest in something a bit better
I think
soon.
we will invest in some post office
So make sure that's on 0. 0 it off.
And what you're weighing in grams?
Grams, yeah.
What do you think?
So she's 1369.
That's really good, because when I weighed her up, I mean you're supposed to weigh them after they lay, and I think she was in at about 1120.
Yeah, 'cause she was about 17 when she laid.
Yeah, no, but after she laid the eggs, Jared,
Oh yeah.
she was what I call them a spent animal, because once they lay their eggs, they're spent and they're quite light in weight, and they lose a lot of body weight. So she was, I think she got up to 1700, didn't she?
Yeah,
Got down
17 to
1100.
2000.
So she lost about 600 grams with 2 eggs, no slugs.
She did have some slugs.
Did she?
Yeah.
Or was it 2 slugs?
She had a few slugs as well. I don't remember the number.
Right.
It'll be on the file. But
How can you avoid slugs, Jared? Because that's the big issue for some breeders. And you know, in our first year we've had a few slugs, but I'm hoping in the second year we can reduce the amount of slugs.
consistent temperatures,
Yeah.
making sure that you get your male to your female enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes they give us slugs unfertilised.
Yeah.
Other times you can do everything you can in your power. Make sure they're fed enough, make sure they're bred enough, and make sure they're warm enough.
So I've noticed with the top breeders like Billy and Justin Kubelka and I'm trying to think, Miguel's clutches.
Always evolving pipe.
Yeah, I mean I look at his videos quite a lot, and he gets massive clutches,
Yeah.
very little slugs. He's doing something right, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I think, I look at his girls and they're all well fed. I mean, they all look happy, and they all look as though they've got plenty of muscle, plenty of food in them. So I reckon feed must have a direct impact on the...
Not overfeeding, but making sure they have enough is ideal.
Do you think, I mean, this is my thinking, I'm quite new to this, so please, I welcome any comments on the video with more experienced breeders. And Jared, you might not be able to answer this one. Do you think that if you wait patiently before you put a male to a female and get her up to size and make sure she's not just up to size, but she's actually in supreme condition?
Yeah.
Let's say that she's put on 2 or 3 extra grams from the last year, and that she is, before she even
Between
sees
200 or 300 extra grams.
yeah. Do you think the better conditioned female is to start with, and then she goes on that ravaging feeding instinct after she starts mating?
Yeah.
Do you reckon that one of the reasons I think these females give us slugs is that maybe they've got 6 to 8 eggs in them, but they've only got enough food in them, in a sense, in their body weight, to sustain the proper development of half of those eggs, say? Is that possibly a reason? Do you think slugs comes as a result of maybe putting a male to them a little bit too soon?
I'm not sure. I don't know. My first clutch of eggs was with just a normal girl, just to practice and to get into the hobby. And I bred them when she was about 1600 and didn't have any slugs. All my snakes were fine. So I don't know. I feel like definitely feeding them, make sure they're in good condition, big enough, mature enough is important. But I'm not sure what the correlation is between that and putting a male in too early.
So let's put that question out to the community. Let us know what your thoughts are on how to reduce exposure to slugs. If you'd like to either message us on Facebook, because we're at New Forest at Facebook, so New Forest Morphs, or Instagram. And I think we'll get on with this cutting. I'm sure everyone's waiting here. I'm quite excited myself. This is like Christmas Day for me.
Yeah.
So now tell us what you're doing, Jared. What's your...
So what I like to do, as they're dimpled, they're quite malleable, the eggs. I like to make a ridge along the top, just so I make sure that when I cut, I'm not anywhere near the snake. See that ridge?
Billy says that he does it a lot. He shows us how to do it, and this guy cuts maybe 3 clutches a day in some cases. He says that the veins on the snake, on the egg, by pinching that down, when you cut the egg down one line,
Yeah.
you actually minimise
The vein cuttage.
Yeah. So the veins might drop off when you're squeezing that egg, Jad. Maybe
Yeah.
the veins drop off. So when you cut, there's less issues with cutting.
I think that's definitely something. Which one would you like?
I'm going to let you choose, Jad.
Okay, I'll go this one.
Okay.
I'll take this very deflated egg that almost looks like a pancake.
I'll just hope and pray that that temperature spike hasn't affected the development of these snakes. I'm hoping and praying that we've got some beautiful animals, Jad. Anything going on there? Are we fully developed?
Yeah, there's still a big egg sac in there.
Right.
I think they're fully developed. See, here's a cinnamon, could even be a cinnamon yellow belly pied. It's alive. Here you've got a bit of excess yolk. See that? Goes a bit hard. Shouldn't cause any problems with the snake, hopefully.
Cool, it looks gorgeous. I can see the dad's influence and I can see the mum's influence there.
Yeah, so
I reckon we've got a...
there's
what do you
cinnamon, it's definitely a cinnamon pied, minimum.
think? Yeah.
Could be yellow belly, could be pastel. I'm not sure till it comes out.
That could be the complete animal is what you're
See if
saying.
we can move this to the
It's quite a
side.
small snake. Okay.
So this is probably because of the temperature spike, that excess yolk, I'm assuming.
Okay.
We just have to hope that the snake's alright.
Yeah.
There's the head. The head looks healthy. See that? In there?
Yep. Maybe it'll come out and take its first breath of air. Go on, up you come. That'd be lovely if it does.
So I'd say it's a healthy.
Yeah, it's a healthy animal, which is great. Oh, there it is. Lovely, Jad. Let it come out naturally. I think our viewers would love to see its head pipping here now. So let's have a little look. What a beautiful, beautiful animal.
So fingers crossed
There's
it's
a
all
blushing on the
healthy.
head, Jad. There's definitely an influence of pastel in there.
Potentially, yeah.
I think there's a pastel in there.
It's definitely lighter than a normal cinnamon,
Yeah.
but we won't be able to find out until it comes out properly.
Okay. So do you want to show us the second egg, Jad? I'll let you cut that too.
Sure.
Because I'm going to keep my hands clean for the camera. When you're opening it,
Have a look at that.
okay.
We just have to hope there's no kinks or any problems with it, but so far so good.
Oh, lovely, Jared. Lovely. I like that little side stripe down the eye. It's beautiful.
And also if you look at the back there where it blushes, it then goes really brown right in the neck.
Yeah, I can see that.
Really pretty.
Look at the little nose as well. Got little nice markings on the nose.
Yeah.
So, one thing I was going to say, Jared, is I've noticed that, you know, it was well dimpled.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can open an egg and the yolk can easily slip out.
Yeah, this one had none. So it probably would have come out today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
Pipped by itself, so.
Now, let's explain one of the reasons why cutting is a good thing. Because I've been watching a couple of videos and I think, who was it? One of the top breeders, who was it now? I'm trying to remember, just this week. He cut his eggs and then,
Umbilical cord
I tell you, it was
wrap.
Brian. It was
Barchek or
Brian
Crisco?
Barchek.
Barchek.
Now Brian Barchek just cut a clutch this week, and he explained why he cuts. And one of his snakes had his umbilical cord wrapped around its neck.
Yeah.
Now he was very fortunate, very experienced breeder. He showed us how to get them out, and he very carefully got the snake unraveled from its own umbilical cord. And he said in his video, this is a top breeder, he said, had I had left that to Pip, it probably would have strangled itself
Yeah.
and died. And he saved an animal. So there's pros and cons, and we're not saying there's a right and wrong way, but there's evidence that suggests that by cutting, you can save the occasional snake from dying from an umbilical cord issue or other issues that could happen.
Yeah.
What other issues could happen if you don't cut?
If they get too cold. If they get too cold while filming. No, I'm joking.
So let's do this, Jan.
That's alright. I just want to make sure they get nice and warm, and then we'll have a chat about it.
Okay, yeah.
I think another good reason to cut is because we as breeders like to see what we have before they pip. That's a selfish reason, that one. So this one had a few more veins in it, and again, it's not looking like there's a snake in it. This one,
Do you reckon that one didn't develop correctly then?
I can't even see a snake.
Let's have a look.
Oh, there's a snake right at the bottom.
Do you reckon it's a small one? We might have another midge here. We had a similar egg like this on the Ultramel clutch.
Yeah.
So Do you reckon there's a little baby?
There's a big old. See down there. There's a really white looking. You see where it's really white down there?
Let's have a look. I'll go in. Yeah, I can see something white down there. There's definitely a baby snake in there.
There's a snake in there. I'm not sure what this big old.
Well, this actually reminds me of Midge's. You know when Midge was born?
Yeah.
There was a lot of egg sac or some form of egg yolk left, and we were worried what it was, and then suddenly the little baby appeared. So I've got a feeling that may be a baby snake like Midge.
Hopefully that comes out.
Yeah. We'll get this back on heat, Jared.
If it comes out, it looks like another cinnamon pied.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yep.
But we'll let them get warm.
Yep. Excellent. Yeah, we've had a similar egg to that before when Midge came out. Now, Midge came out at 20 grams, didn't he? It's very small.
Yeah.
And
small baby.
You're assist feeding him at the moment. He's back up to 20 grams. He dropped down to 13. We're struggling to get him feeding. And Jared came up with the idea of getting some mice rat pups because we were giving him the head of a rat pup, which he was taking, but there was no protein in that head, and he was losing weight. So even though we were assist feeding Jared, we were assist feeding the wrong part of the animal.
Yeah.
So it's all well and good putting something in his stomach, but make sure you put as much quality as you can into his tummy.
Exactly.
Because now since you've done that, Jared, you've put you've been using. He's had what, 2 assist feeds on the new food?
Yeah, he's had 2 on the new food, and then soon he'll be big enough to have an actual.
So he's put on 7 grams back to his original.
I'll get him out.
Yeah.
He's very small.
Yeah.
He's got a small kink in him, but we're hoping.
He was from a boob egg, wasn't he?
Yeah.
There he is.
See how little he is? He's got food in there now. We struggled getting him started.
He looked very similar to that second egg, didn't he? When
he's got a bit of shed on him.
Yeah, but he's got a mill in him, hasn't he? So this is our Midge. He's a het ultra male, normal. We're trying so hard to keep him alive, aren't we, Jared? And we're giving him a lot of love and attention. But we'll keep you posted with Midge's development, and let's hope and pray that we can get him to pack on a bit of weight and get him going.
Hopefully.
And you also assisted the banana yesterday as well, Jared, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you get him out and see how he's doing?
So I think he's going into shed, so it's a bit pale.
The fact that he's going into shed is good news. It means he's putting on weight. So should we weigh him? Now we've got the scales. Another reason to have scales is to weigh any assist feeds, see how they're doing. You should weigh them regularly so we can keep an eye on their body weight. We're just going to zero the scales. Let's see how the banana's doing. And let's keep a record of that weight so we can see that it's putting on the right weight.
52 grams. So usually our hatchlings are more than that when they come out.
I think he was about 35 to 40, so he's put on a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
I reckon he's put on at least 10 grams, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a female.
It's a female, isn't it? Yeah. So there's a little update on a couple of ours, and you had a new assist feed yesterday, and I think you should get her out as well, Jared. We'll weigh her. So on our Cini Pieds earlier clutch that we had, which got 6 animals out, beautiful animals. Everything's feeding except for this little one here, this female, which is the
cinnamon
pied, just like the dad. And I gave her her first meal. She struck, and she just dropped it. She wouldn't take it in, and we've been trying for about 3 weeks to naturally feed her, and then we were starting to get concerned that she wasn't eating. So Jared assist fed her yesterday, and let's just see what she's weighing in at, and we'll record that.
74 grams.
See, that's healthy. That's very good. So I reckon she'll be fine, and she'll start feeding for herself.
She's still nice and chunky.
Yeah.
Not too much to worry about. But
the danger is if you don't assist feed and they lose a lot of body weight,
it's hard.
Like Midge, for example, we tried to get him going, but we probably could have done that better. But we're learning, and we want to make sure we're not going to duplicate any errors in the past and actually put things right as we go. So thank you, Jared, for that. Now just talk us through the 2 types of scissors and why you're using different types of scissors.
So I just use one. There are different kinds. We use these little nail scissors. Yeah, it's got blood on it. So recently I just had a baby boy, and in his little healthcare pack there was a pair of nail scissors in there, but we've already got a pair that we use for him. So these ones we thought we'd use for the snakes, and if you see they've got a blunt end, so there's no way that they can hurt the snake. See that?
Just open that again. Okay.
So they're blunt.
Yeah.
If you look at the difference, these are pointy and these are circular.
Yeah. Okay, so we lost power there. Just got the camera working again. Jab was explaining about the two different types of scissors.
There's other types, but these are what we like
Billy
to use.
uses these big scissors, doesn't he?
Yeah, you just cut straight on the top.
Yeah.
Whatever works for you, really.
Yeah.
Some people use a razor blade. I'm too scared to do that. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, get yourself a good sharp pair of scissors. Be careful. You shouldn't have a problem.
Okay, Jack. So let's now move on to the final part of the video. We'll give you an update on how those eggs are doing. Obviously, we're worried about one of them particularly.
They weren't the healthiest looking eggs because of that spike, but we'll update.
I have a feeling that spike had an impact, Jad.
Yeah.
Right, let's just for the benefit of our new breeders who are setting up in the hobby to start with, on our care video that we put out last week, we talked about using a 9-litre rub from Hobbycraft. Now they don't come with pre-drilled holes for breathability of the snake, because obviously these are mainly used for art and crafts. So when you transfer an art and craft tub to an animal home, you need to make sure that there's circulation of air going in and out of the rub. Otherwise, stale air will build up, humidity will build up, and a whole bunch of health issues, including the potential of death, because an animal needs to breathe fresh air. So this is a technique I got from Richard at Predator BP. So thank you, Richard. You're the one that put me onto this idea, and it's a shout out to Rich. He uses a soldering iron, and I had a soldering iron. It tripped my electrics because it had a problem. So my wife Mandy gave me her, she's into art and crafts, she gave me her wood engraving art kit, which
Pyrography.
Sorry?
It's for pyrography.
Pyrography. So I'm going to show you how to ventilate a rub. You can drill, but no doubt it will crack if you drill. Just get it up to heat first. So I think, Jad, you may want to come behind me for this, and maybe can you come up behind me right here? That's it. Now, the rub already has all these little holes made up for you. You could use that as your pattern, and literally you go in 1,
Just to warn you, it does smell.
2, 3. I'm going wonky. Richard was much better than me. I mean, I was all over the place. I should get my glasses on. I'm going to do like 9. Just look how easy that goes through beautifully. We are burning plastic here, so we probably should do this outside. You get the idea.
Yeah.
So let's just let that rest for a bit. Then I'll show you how it's done. Just watch that plastic jar. So there you go. Have a look and see what I've done. So I've got 9 holes in the rub. I'll let that just dry out. Now, none of this drilling and stuff. Now, if I feel that is as smooth as a pancake. There's no rough, sharp edges that the snake can damage itself on, and that same thing happens on the inside as well. So have a look at the inside. I can put my finger on that. Now remember, a snake's going to come up and rub itself against the rub. If you drill in and the plastic points out, that's potential to scratch your snake. Its eyes could get damaged, its nose could get damaged. So when you're keeping a snake, avoid any sharp objects in the rubs. I have seen professional breeders who have bought professional rack systems, and some of them are made of metal, and they've complained that 1 or 2 of their snakes have been rubbing up against the metal, and it literally has been damaging the nose of the snake. So I will always go plastic, but I would also be very careful that when you're making holes, to use the right gear to get a nice smooth finish. Now that took no more than a minute. So wear your glasses if you're a bit like me. I'm a bit wonky, but I think that's quite quirky actually. It's a bespoke cage. Now I'll only put 1 on there. I would probably put maybe, I know Gavin at Balls to You, and I looked at his equipment setup video, he put holes 2, 3, 4, 5 holes along the side, and then he put them along that side as well. And you could do that. I tend to put mine on here, this corner at the back. So 1 at the front, 1 at the back, so you get a flow there. But I would try Gavin's approach and actually put some holes along the side.
I feel like it's one or the other though, because if you put too many holes in, you might have humidity problems and not have enough humidity in the tank.
That's what Richard told me on his video. He said that the big mistake people make is they actually end up putting in too many holes and you can't control the humidity because the water's just escaping or whatever. So
a few in the front, a few in the back usually.
Do a few at the front, a few at the back. Don't overdo it, otherwise you can end up with issues there. So I think that's about it, Jared. I can't think of anything else. We will be bringing you some updates on our next clutch. Obviously the one we just cut, we'll be bringing you an update. I think in 2 weeks we've got the 8-ball clutch. One of the eggs has got mould, and we're going to do a video on how to treat a mouldy egg and what causes a mouldy egg. And also we've got, besides doing that video, we're going to do an update on what's going on in the reptile house here. So it's a big thank you to Jared for being the cameraman today and helping out and sharing your knowledge. Thank you, Jared. If you enjoyed the video, thumbs up please. Don't forget to hit the notification button and share with your friends. We're building up a nice following. Please join us as a community, and we'll be putting out 2 or 3 more videos over the next few weeks. Thank you very much. My name's Paul, and I'll see you next time. Well, our pastel yellow belly pied female that we got this year has just given us 2 pearly eggs this morning, and it is the 5th of August. Jared's going to lift her carefully. There we go. She's beautiful. And that was a bit of a surprise clutch there, Jared. I wasn't expecting that this morning.
No, it's a nice surprise.
And I put her to the Cini male, so there's a chance of 4 gene animals there, 4 gene pieds. Do you think she's empty, or has she got any more to lay?
There could be some slugs potentially at the bottom.
Okay.
So we'll take these 2 and we'll leave her in there.
Yeah, okay, you can put her in the other rub if you like.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's lovely. So they look like nice eggs. Long, quite big ones.
There's the eggs.
Beautiful. That'll do very nicely. Potentially a 5 gene animal there, Jared.
Yeah.
Yeah.